Hello, Denise Ramon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm fine. I'm on my husband's computer because mine's in for repairs, and I accidentally hit reactions instead of record. So it's just blah 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 on and on. But anyway, what I said was, first of all, I love you, Denise. I love you, Eric.
He says, "I love you, Mama," and he's doing it again. He's kissing you all over your face. He's just going around like this,
Yeah.
kissing. Oh,
Oh.
do you
Hey,
feel warmth around your neck? He's like showing me he's around your back of your
oh,
neck.
I feel it. But
There's,
wouldn't it be awful if I didn't realize this until the very end? It's awful. But we're going to interview part two of Metatron. But first, I want to ask you guys to please smash the subscribe button unless you already have, because then it'll undo it. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And please check out, and I will remind you at the end, DeniseRamon.com, because, and I get emails about her all the time after people have had sessions. She's so authentic. She has so little ego. She is so gifted. So you guys better, book something before she's, booked up for a decade. So, but anyway, we
sweet. Thank
appreciate
you.
you, Denise. Okay, I don't know what I was about to say. All right, so Metatron. Eric, can you bring in Metatron? Because guess what? I got the Metatron, necklace for Metatron to appease him, to appease the god.
Because this is the color he's coming in. His energy is that color. It's like purple blue to mix together, and
Cool.
he's
I love it.
yeah, it's a very rich type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
very
apparently
rich.
he's helping me with my book, so we'll see. But is he here?
Erik says he's here. Yes, his energy's here, and it's like Erik's sitting in a chair, but he says this Metatron doesn't need a chair. It's almost like he's just.
He got hemorrhoids?
No, it's like he's just
I'm
floating
kidding.
with the energy.
I'm kidding. That's so disrespectful. But he has a sense
No,
of
that's
humor, I'm
funny.
sure.
Yes. Oh, yes.
All right, so let's go on with our questions. And
Okay.
first of all, these are blog member questions, almost all of them. Can you give examples of how numbers can influence other numbers, especially in relation to new inventions that are coming?
He says everything is mathematical, everything is. So numbers, there's an order to the numbers, and he's telling me it doesn't matter if it's written in what language it is. There's a rhythm in how the numbers are written. There's energy in that, how it's even though one may write a number one this way, or one may write a number one this way, there's energy in that, and they're aligned for each. I just find that's fascinating how they are. But how the numbers are going to be for, what was it, invention?
Yeah, inventions, I guess.
Or
Yeah.
He says, because it's the way the number, what he's showing me, how he's showing me like how the numbers are lined up, and he's just showing me how they're lined up, and they meet, and what they do is those numbers resemble or equate to something else that help us to know what something else is, so we know how to put things together.
Like inventions.
Yes, and
Okay.
it just helps us. It's a trail, is what he says.
That is so cool. Now here's another one. Do you spend more time on Earth or in other dimensions? And do other planets in our solar system have anything to do with your reality?
He definitely spends a lot of time in other dimensions, and I feel he feels like a very strong healer to me, very powerful healer, very highly evolved being. Does he go to? He goes to other dimensions. He comes when he comes here, he doesn't come here like a person. So he never really has to come into our um, energy field per se, because he's connecting another way,
Ah,
spirit wise. So
I
it's
got
not
it.
like he's not lowering his, so he doesn't come down here. But what we do is we come up there with him
Oh,
when he comes.
that
He
is
always, yeah.
that is so cool. So what does he look like to you, Denise?
He just like kind of put, he says people want to know what he looks like in physicalness, like per human here. He says, of course, he's just energy. And I see him like in a purple, bluish color mixed together. But
Mm.
when you ask what does he look like, he has long hair down to here. And I don't know if he ever was earthbound, but he's
Apparently, I
shown,
think he was human
because he's,
first. But
yeah, because he's shown.
to me, when people talk about Metatron, I thought he was like some transformer in the movies, Transformers or whatever. Metatron. I didn't
he
know.
I was thinking something metal also, but
I know,
he's showing
like
me
robots.
he has hair down to here. It's light colored hair, and then he has a beard.
Hmm.
He says you would consider me looking like a philosopher, is what
Ah,
people would. That's his look. So what you could equate him to, a philosopher way back. But he seems extremely tall, very
mm.
tall. Um,
So
um,
basically, with you, for you, you see this amazing blue energy that's kind of like this the blueness of my Metatron necklace.
yes.
I don't know if it's helping me, but I'm trying. All right, so here's another question. If we have come from a toxic family environment, Metatron, with abusive parents, then our inner child is not nurtured. Some therapy focuses on wounds and anger of our inner child, but other spiritual people say don't focus on your wounds and stay in the present. If you focus on your wounds, you're being a victim. So, Metatron, what is your belief about that? That's so important because, gosh, that's so common. And not only abuse by parents, but abuse by siblings, abuse by friends, just all sorts of people. But yeah,
Anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
anything.
He says you have to, and this is where he says he does a lot of, he works with a lot of people here in healing,
Okay.
is what he says. But he says you have to acknowledge the whatever form of abuse went on, and that's even the abuse you've done to yourself. You have to acknowledge that and say,
Yeah.
this happened,
Yeah.
in order for you to be able to heal from it. But once he says it's acknowledged, then you need to go in, okay, now how do I go about healing this part? And
Mm.
he says, when you're really into healing that and wanting to take responsibility, because he says, yes, it's horrible that being human and you've gone through this, but he says you have to remember we chose this, because what it
Wow.
all involves is us growing more spiritually, the way it's to engulf our light, our spirit, our light, to have
Yeah.
it grow. And
Yeah.
when we can see it from that, instead of the poor pitiful me, and he's not downplaying anything, but he's wanting you to get into your power and just say, okay, this abuse happened. Now, where do I go to heal it? He says, and then you just start, and he's flipping pages, but I'm telling him we do the computer to look where to
Good.
go
School Metatron, Denise. School him. Metatron, you've been schooled.
but he says, and then you go looking for the people or the places to help you get through, to to start working on that, the solutions.
I know. I mean, you and I talked about it, and but I have been dealing with somebody who is so into victimhood and is weaponizing it to hurt other people. So it's just not, it's living in, there's fear and love, okay?
Yes,
You
and
can
they
live in
both can't.
fear, you can
Uh-huh.
live in love. This
Yes,
person,
he
and I
says
won't even
we're
say the
in a.
sex, has, unfortunately chosen fear. So it's too bad. Anyway, so wait a minute. What? Okay. Um, there's a new cryptocurrency called Meta One. Is your energy totally backing this new one? Just real briefly. Yeah, I guess, I just, these are short questions.
Is his energy backing that? He says you're asking, did somebody say we're going to do this in your honor and your energy is going to be in this coin? He said it's not like that, no.
Okay. So I wear the Metatron Cube Merkaba. It's not me. I got the idea from this person. How does that help? Or does it?
Because he said, yes, it does help. And he says this also goes with that currency too. Because if you believe that he's influencing that currency, then you're pulling in that energy, and then it's going to go, what that energy will be there because you're guiding it and asking
Yeah.
for that to go on. He says with that necklace, I don't, did, did somebody give you that?
No, I bought it on Amazon.
You bought it on Amazon?
Yeah.
Did somebody hold it or something or do anything with it?
Well, I lost it for a while. And then Maria, our housekeeper, must have found it because it must have dropped off in the bathtub or whatever. And then it was on the side of the bathtub. So,
Because
yeah.
she's showing me somebody's holding it and like re-energizing it or whatever.
That's
But
probably
he,
Maria.
but he's saying, but with you, he's telling me you're an amazing channeler also, and he says, and healer. And I wouldn't be surprised if your dreams didn't start getting more intense, not
Ah,
bad, but more vivid in that. But is
yeah.
that, and he says yes, because what
It's
that
happening.
does,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
I
he
thought it was my
says
blood pressure medicine. I don't know, but
no, but he's saying what happens is when you wear something symbolic of somebody, it just helps you to remind you to stay more connected, and then you stay more in tune with that energy.
wow. Okay. So, anyway, so the same person says, how can we best connect with you beside the necklace? Candles, oils, colors. How can you assist us? Well, okay, that's another thing.
Well, he's saying, he says you don't really need anything to connect with me, it's just your thought and your intent.
Yeah, I would
But
think.
he says,
Yeah.
but if the oils and the candle or the crystals or whatever it is help you to feel more in that energy and that,
And the necklace.
yeah, and the necklace, he says, then that's what you do. It just it's really up to the individual. He says, but you don't, because what you're needing to connect is from within.
Yeah. All right. So then another question the same person asks in the same, combination of questions. How can you assist us in the removal of past life traumas or blocks? In fact, just I'm going to, put it out there. What can you assist us with and how?
He says, well, the past lives in that, he says, it's it's whatever you didn't get to work on, I guess. And it's not what you didn't get to work on. I just feel like it's a continuation of leftovers coming, and the current life that you're in now says, um, sometimes you have to stop and ask yourself, like, is this really about this life? And then when you can really see that it's really not about this life, then you can start, oh, well, that must be something way back when. He says you can connect with him and ask him, and he's showing me how he really helps with um, what some of us call as cord cutting. um,
Oh, yeah.
he's really powerful healer. I mean, like real powerful. I mean, I'm like vibrating in here, and how he's
Wow.
real powerful about if you ask him to come in and he's saying you want to heal particular parts and you really, this is your, and you know it to be the truth that this will happen, he's showing me how he can really just start cutting, like what we call cutting cords, but just start blending whatever it is
Well, like,
together.
is it partly like spiritual DNA? Like people come, have this long line of diabetes in their ancestry and they have diabetes, or this long line of betrayal that even goes back to, to maybe in your only your own life, but also through your ancestors. I mean, or a long line of suicides, ancestor to ancestor, ancestor. I mean, can he help cut that spiritual DNA or change that spiritual DNA that is the DNA of our higher self too?
He said yes, if that's what you really want to heal. He said yes.
It seems like we should want to. So what do we do? Hey man, cut the cord. What do we say? What do we do?
Well, he says, of course we all want this healed, but
Yeah,
what it takes to get through that, and we have to feel some pain in getting there, because
yeah.
then we have to start acknowledging that things weren't as good as we say they are, or pretend they were, or whatever.
Why is
And
that necessary? To feel the pain first before we can cut the cord?
it's it's
Before he can help us cut the cord.
to acknowledge it, because some
Oh,
of us live in denial, or
ah,
to like,
yeah,
we're
that makes
delusional
sense.
about, but just to acknowledge it. But he says, and when you're doing that though, when you're acknowledging it, it's like you're taking back your power, and doing this, and he says, but when you start acknowledging things, and it's like, this isn't for me anymore, but he's showing me how, and he's helped heal many people. He's shown me thousands, millions of
Oh
people,
gosh, I'm sure.
and he
Yeah,
says there's healers that use him.
yeah.
And it's when he's saying this, I'm thinking, oh, what was that guy's name? He was a healer. Um, um, Ryan Adragna
Oh yeah.
used to channel him. Yes,
Oh
very powerful healer he was,
yeah.
very
He
powerful.
was,
But
yeah.
he says, but people think I'm off limits, so they don't channel me.
No,
But
no.
he isn't. Yeah, but he's very much there.
Just like Jesus, the same thing.
Absolute. I said absolutely,
So
absolutely.
can you help heal a person with the initials EM that I feel like she, I won't say, really needs some help and I want to help him or her? Can you help him or her?
He says yes, he can help them,
How?
but they have to want it.
Oh
It's like
God, that's not gonna happen.
it's about respect of boundaries and free
Yeah,
will, because he says sometimes, it's like people that can heal stage 4 cancer, and some people can't even heal stage 2 cancer.
yeah,
It's about what they want, and he
yeah.
says he would never interfere. um, but when he said that, he just shows me like babies. He's gone in and healed babies,
Oh,
and he says, because he says that's just different, the babies, because he connects with them on a soul level, and that's part of the process. And then the doctors think it was a miracle, or the mothers or whoever think it was a miracle that they healed. And in a sense, yes, but he's showing me him and other beings help run
that's
in there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And he says it's to expand their faith.
well, that's good. Here's something that goes along the same lines. If the records are part of our DNA, and that's within and not separate, does that mean you work on that level, like working with our genetic code?
He says yes, and that all goes in with numbers.
Okay, I bet. Um, is there a symbol we can recognize or look at that will confirm your presence?
He what he's showing me is like it's kind of like that symbol that you have, because he's shown me, like, you know, like the
Oh yeah,
diamond,
yeah.
and it's got, yeah, kind of like that, and it's got um like points on it, but those points are have a purpose in it. But he showed me like a diamond, but there's points on it, and
Like this. So
something similar.
is
Yeah, he said, but
sacred geometry kind of stuff, like numbers, sacred geometry?
well, it's what it that he says what helps with that is because it helps to with the flow of the energy, how energy just flows, and
Oh.
it just helps. He's showing keeping it circular, keeping it moving, and that. But he says you don't have to have one symbol to represent me. And he says, if you want a symbol to know if that's me or not, think of a symbol that feels good to you, and
Mm.
just know that that's going to be your symbol for me, and
Or
you
even a
can know.
color, right? Even a color that.
Even a color. He says
Oh,
even a color.
I think I got channeled to me. Okay. Roger.
He said it did. He said it did.
All right. Let's hope for me. What was the difference in mankind at the time of Enoch that enabled lifespans lasting hundreds of years? If this is literal and not symbolic, so we have to ask: is this literal or symbolic? That needs to be the starting point.
Well, he said because there wasn't as many humans, many people, so he says we needed to live longer and populate
Ah,
and start, and we didn't have um, the things that he's saying that y'all have now to help um, shorten our lifespan. And they're also too there, he's telling me there was an awareness of that they knew where to go to get answers. And then when he's saying that, like going within, go sit under a tree and meditate,
yeah.
or they knew how to do that.
They didn't have
For
iPads or
correct,
iPhones. Yeah, really.
or the Pop Tarts or the beer or the
I
pills, and
know.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Somebody asked this specifically. Did you teach Erik how to come to us in human form? This one blog member said. So I think that Erik must have come to her or him in human form, and she wants to know if she or he wants to know if Metatron taught him that.
taught Erik that.
Yeah, how to come appear in human form. And I've heard lots of these, like people see like somebody who looks exactly like Erik, and one's like in the truck next to him, and Erik smiles at them and then just disappears or whatever. I don't know what. So did you teach Erik how to come to, in this case, this particular person in human form?
Well, Erik is going. He's doing that to me. He said it's
He
like
don't need no Metatron to do that. He does it on his own. I know.
that's
That's what it
a,
is.
yes, and he says it's yes, it's like you learn from. Erik is saying you learn from everyone on the other side. They're all teaching you, and it's a matter of if that's what you want to do. So Erik is like, I have to take credit for this one.
Yeah,
so
of course.
so Erik says, yeah.
Okay. Oh, what's it say? Hang on. It's got a couple of questions left. How can Metatron help us co-create healthy structures and relationships in our life?
He says, number one, you have to believe that it will happen, and also
Yeah.
know that you are part of the process. You are part of um, the one who's helping to create this.
Mm.
Um,
We are
he's shown,
co-creators with Metatron
yes,
and
yes, because
others.
what he's showing me is he helps with that, but he says, but it's really you that's doing it.
Yeah.
He's just helping to facilitate it and showing you. Um, but his energy is so strong. I mean, it's real strong. And what it does, it gives you a self of courage almost for you to continue to go to stay in that that space to continue doing what it is. I mean, his energy is real strong. I almost feel kind of, it's like I feel dizzy, kind of like I'm
Oh,
woozy or something. Yeah, it's
oh, we
real
only have a
strong.
couple of questions left. So somebody said that she or he read that you hold the template for living an awakened life. First of all, is that true? Or does everybody seem like everybody would?
Yeah, he says this is the thing: the universe, spirit, prime source, the ultimate source, whatever you want to call it, God, Jesus, doesn't give the only master key to one person or
Yeah.
one spirit, because everything is shared. Everything is for everybody on the other side.
Yeah, because
We have access.
we're all one anyway. We're all part
Right.
of the
We
same
have
collective. Yeah.
access. We have access to everything.
Yeah.
It's a matter of us believing that we have it.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so what does it look like in daily life to live an awakened life? And what steps can we take as a collective to more consistently live an awakened life?
He says number one, he says number one is start. He says we get sidetracked with everything, with the daily grind. We get sidetracked and think that that's what's real going on. And he's showing me, I guess, because I get aggravated real easily in traffic, like that's the problem right there. But to redirect our focus though on what this is really about, and what we're really about is self-evolving, spiritually
Yeah,
evolving, and 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 but we get sidetracked with what's going on, and we
I
think that
know.
that's what's real, that's going on. And he said, there's nothing wrong with enjoying everything that's here, because that's what we're supposed to do,
Sure.
but we forget to enjoy it.
I know. All right. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to run out real quick to do something, like 15 seconds. The the wheels, the four wheels of fire covered with eyes, is that really just an alien craft that's misunderstood? And also, my last question is, how do you want to help me, whether it's with the novel or whatever? I need as much help as I can. And I'll be right back.
Okay.
Go on with that self, Metatron.
He says, okay, he's saying that of course it's a spacecraft that's misunderstood, because what we don't understand, we turn it into something else that's we inflict fear on it, and then we let our imaginations go wild with it, and then we start making up things of what it is or what it isn't. And he said it is just a spacecraft, which I don't know anything about it, but he says it is just misunderstood. And if we want to put things on it that it's bad, evil, or whatever, or going to hurt us, then that's exactly what it's going to do, because now we've put into and started this big collective consciousness of it's bad, evil, and wrong. And so that's how we're all looking at it, as it's bad, evil, and wrong. So that's what we get from it. But he says
Okay.
that no, that's not what it is. And you asked, is he going to help what?
How do you want to help me? In what areas of my life? Because God knows there's a bunch of them, but I would like your help in any way. I've got this novel for middle schoolers on up that I really want to use to help, you know,
He says
teach
you're
some of Erik's lessons that he's taught all of us, and just a bunch more.
He says you're a lot easier to work with when you're sleeping. So you must get up in the middle of the night with these ideas or something.
Yeah,
And he says write them down, because that's when they're giving you the
I know, but it's
information.
like, oh God, I don't want to lift my head up. I do have a notepad there, but it's like, I'll just try to
Yeah.
remember it,
Well, and
whatever.
then he's also saying ask, just please help me to remember. And
Okay.
when I wake up, please help me to
Okay.
remember. I feel him very close to you. So
Mm,
I don't know if you felt his presence around you or if you just started knowing about him, but I feel like it's almost like, okay, it's like y'all have been acquaintances for a long time and now you're like, oh, Metatron, okay, yeah, now I have a lot I want to talk to you about. It's like
that's
y'all
so
known each other,
cool.
but now it's like he's got your
Maybe. I
attention.
don't know. I don't know.
Now he says it's kind of like uh, the relationship where the couple knew of each other, but the girl didn't like the guy, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh boy, you are cute.
You must
And
watch the Hallmark Channel too, Denise. I'm kidding. They're so predictable. All right. Well,
and then yeah.
thank you so much, Metatron. And yes, I'm so grateful for any help that you can give me and others that I care about, which means everybody. And Erik, thank you so much for this, sweetie. I love you.
He says, I
Anything
love
else
you.
you and Denise, I love you. Anything else anybody wants to say before I share? Well, I will share now. DeniseRamon.com, which I'll put here. But is there anything else anybody wants to say?
Metatron says, now that you know that he is talking to you and helping you with this, he's just saying, just keep all your channels open because even more will come through. And he says, and don't um, sit there and go, oh my God, this has to be somebody else. Just know that it's you're co-writing this. So a
Ah,
part of you is writing this too,
yeah.
because they wouldn't be able to help you expand if you weren't present and said, okay, I'm ready. Ooh, I just love how he's just showing me how they just,
Oh,
and how you're they're coming and knocking on your door and you're embracing them with love and
yeah.
saying okay. And so yes. And Erik is he's wanting to take the credit for it. He's so funny. He goes, see, Mama, see how much I love you, see who I brought to
Yeah,
you.
you're so
But he's just,
sweet.
but Eric's kind of laughing. But this was all part of the plan though, Lisa.
Wow.
This was all part of the plan. Yes.
That is
He's
so
telling me it's
crazy. Well,
all.
anyway, I can't tell you how grateful I am. And Denise, thank you so much. I love you.
I
I
love
love
you
you very
too.
much. Love you, Erik, and I love all you guys out there. So hit subscribe and like. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Take care.
Take care.